Open world games have changed a lot over the years, but one consistent thing that appears across most large-scale open world adventures is the ability to engage in some sort of crafting of weapons, armor, potions, or other useful objects. From survival games to RPGs, there are a huge number of open world games that give players the ability to engage in intriguing crafting and building using a variety of materials. From the simple and small to the enormous and incredibly useful, crafting in modern games has become a world of open possibilities. Hey there everyone, welcome to Game Rant, Geoffrey here. In today's video, I'll be showcasing 10 great open world games that offer the best bountiful crafting opportunities. Let's dive in. Number 10, Raft. The name is almost craft, and while that might just be a coincidence, the sheer scale of things that players can and must make in order to last long in this seafaring game is completely purposeful. Raft is an amazing game that allows players to come together with their friends and feel the real frustration of how difficult it is to survive when set adrift at sea, although most of us probably haven't had to deal with that. Trying to gather materials and survive, all while facing the threat of sharks and very dangerous survival meters, Raft keeps players on their toes and forces them to learn quickly how to craft and survive out on the open water. Number 9, Valheim. Valheim has been accused by some players of being too intricate and grindy, as players who want to craft some of the larger and better items in the game are forced to hunt for materials, sometimes for a long time, before actually achieving their goals. Other players insist that the realistic experience makes Valheim one of the best open world games available for crafting. Now, it is difficult to judge whether there is too much to the material gathering process in any survival game, and it will come down to how much each individual player is willing to put up with, but Valheim definitely has a great crafting system and a wide open world. Number 8, Rust. Rust is another game that is custom built for pain and frustration. I know, doesn't sound fun, but hear me out here. In large multiplayer servers, players could build large bases and craft some great materials and items using the unique crafting style, only to lose it all and have their world come crashing down around them in minutes. Rust is one of the most intense open world survival options out there, and while this game will forever cause players to go into a rage at their losses, just don't throw your controller at the screen, there is always so much to create and build anew that most will end up returning to it eventually or finding similar games that can be equally brutal. Number 7, Starfield. Starfield has proven itself to be among some of the most ambitious games ever released. The nature of the open world exploration of hundreds of planets is only a little marred by the extra time it takes to travel between them, and there are many ways in which this new Bethesda game finds huge success. One of these successes comes in the form of the open world exploration that players must engage in for materials. The crafting in Starfield comes with a real twist to it, one that is familiar to fans of Bethesda games like Fallout 4, but which has been advanced fantastically since then. Weapon mods are available and can take a lot of real effort to create, but they aren't forced upon players as a necessary part of the game. Bethesda has mastered the art of delivering great open world crafting options without forcing them upon players. Number 6, Don't Starve. One of the earlier examples of an open world survival game, Don't Starve used a randomly generated open world to intrigue and fascinate players until they were sucked in by the mixture of survival and crafting, as well as the fun roguelike gameplay. Don't Starve and Don't Starve Together are both great examples of what can be done in a simple format without insane graphics, in building a believable world that can be extremely difficult and rewarding to survive in. Features such as the sanity meter make Don't Starve one of the darker survival games available, so do keep that in mind. Number 5, Subnautica. One of the very best at allowing players to craft in unique ways, Subnautica drops the player into an alien ocean and forces them to survive with only the materials they can scavenge and the items they can craft from the local resources. From building laser cutters to propulsion rifles and even vehicles and bases, Subnautica has a massive variety of crafting. Players can choose to play Subnautica in a number of different ways, and with the scale of the open ocean where they can gather resources from, there's almost no limit to how much they can create in a single run of the game. Number 4, The Forest. The Forest is unique in that it allows players to craft some of the most insane items imaginable. There are simple things such as weapons and shacks they can create. There are some stranger items like houseboats and traps, and then there are bloodied trophies of the enemies' heads, and even worse, as they uncover the bloody secrets of this dark island. The forest has a unique crafting style which allows players to find a lot out for themselves about what they are able to put together. A lot of what can be made does make perfect sense and does give players the real feeling of putting together a survivable atmosphere on a very unfriendly island. Number 3. Sons of the Forest. Though The Forest was already an incredible example of an open world game with great crafting, the sequel, Sons of the Forest, which has been in early access for some time now, has already surpassed it. Sons of the Forest brings all of the wonder and terror of the original game to a much larger scale sequel, with an open world map 4 times as large as that of the first game. Additionally, the crafting system has been improved massively, giving players a whole new sense of freedom. The Forest was already a hugely fun survival sandbox that could be used for many creative crafting builds, but now Sons of the Forest has given players an even more freeing and expansive update to a similar style of crafting. Number 2. Terraria. Terraria is, without a doubt, one of the most impressive games of all times in terms of the open way it allows players to craft an entire world filled with items. The variety is almost unmatched by any other game. Terraria has maintained a lot of the love from the gaming community for years because of the highly impressive way the crafting makes it just so darn replayable in this game. Terraria doesn't have the most detailed crafting mechanic, and the game is more focused on the exploration and combat sides than it is on the crafting. So even though the crafting is hugely impressive in this game, there is one game that does it much better. Can you guess what it is? And here we are, number 1, Minecraft. Of course, it has to be Minecraft. Obviously, the legendary best-selling video game of all time that has the word craft in the name does crafting incredibly well, no surprise there. Minecraft is all about crafting an entire world of possibilities after digging up all of the resources players need to do so. At the very core of Minecraft, above all exploration and combat, comes the crafting. This is the most important aspect, and that aspect was so well executed that this literally became the biggest game in history, as well as a beautiful bedrock for open world crafting goodness. And there we have it everyone, 10 lovely open world games that feature some top-notch crafting systems for you to engage with. Thank you so much for checking out this video from Game Rant. Have a truly wonderful and happy day. See you in the next video. Bye bye.